Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first edition of How the Fuck Bad Is. Our first movie, of course, for the slaughter is Batman v Superman. Now, this series is a little bit different from Night at the Movies. Why don't you tell them why?
He doesn't have his helmet on, and he looks really hot.
It's not what I meant.
Also, what we do is we're just gonna have like a very casual conversation about how god-awful this movie was.
Right. Yeah, there's going to be other movies, obviously, coming out in coming months that are going to be terrible. And I didn't really feel like it was worth my time to do a proper breakdown of how well the movie was made, when the answer is just, it was all terrible.
It was bad.
He has the power to wipe out the entire human race. If we believe there's even a 1% chance that he is our enemy, we have to take it as an absolute certainty.
Of course, it shouldn't have to be said, but spoiler warning, we are talking about great details that are in
Lots
this
of
movie.
spoilers.
The movie's been in theaters for over a month. Again,
Go see it?
go see it. No, don't go see it. Wait for it to come out on Blu-ray, and then if you have a friend that buys it, go see it at his house.
It's funny. Or hers. Don't be sexist.
But that's my thing. Why don't we start off with some redeeming qualities? What were some of the good things about this movie?
The beginning scene was good.
Yeah.
Up until a point, but we'll get to that, right?
Right.
It was good because you saw from a perspective you never see of these like action movies, really,
Right.
if you think of it. You saw the destruction from a civilian point of view.
What you see is what happened in the first movie, but from the perspective of the people that were dying on the ground.
Which you thought was hilarious.
Right.
People are dying. The very beginning scene and like one of the 15 endings when they show Clark's funeral, which is like just very small town farm, like a few people, an Amish
simple
person.
farming boy
Very-
being put to laid to rest by the community around him. It was very simple, very sad.
So they were cutting to that, and then they were cutting to Superman's funeral,
Right.
which was like the
Which was in
army
Washington,
and the
D.C.
city, and there was people everywhere. I thought that was very neat. They were showing
21 cannon salute. There was even a neat line where Wonder Woman says they don't know how to honor him as a man, only as a soldier.
I thought that part was good, and then the rest was laughable.
I would say my favorite part of the movie, there were two good parts. There's one scene where Batman has to save Superman's mom. He has to fight his way to her.
Oh yeah, that was pretty cool.
Thermal imaging is showing me 24 hostiles on the 3rd floor. Why don't I drop you off on the 2nd?
He's fighting like 20 guys around him, and it's really, really well done. It wasn't a perfect scene. There's a lot of problems with it still, but that was fun. It was neat to see Batman not only fight guys, but do proper Batman poses when he was doing them, smashing people's heads through crates. He does have superhuman strength. Like, he's not supposed to, but he does. He tethers to a crate, and then the crate is like 10, 20 feet away from him, and he's able to throw the crate
That was crazy.
to the other side of the room. There's no way he's that strong.
Well, we actually saw the training scene. He's trying to get strong. The whole training scene in the theater, just sitting right next to me, all I hear is, "I'ma pull this tire, 'cause I'm Batman. I'ma punch this thing, 'cause I'm Batman. I'ma do some pull-ups, 'cause I'm Batman."
Batman does CrossFit. Billionaire slamming a sledgehammer up against a giant tire.
The whole freaking movie, laughing at the most inappropriate times. The funeral. I felt really bad for shushing you, but there was like this old guy in front of us and he kept going. Every time you were cracking up.
And my second favorite part of the movie was when Batman finally fights Superman. The fight was a bit shitty. It's supposed to be the point of the movie, as far as the title goes.
The greatest gladiator match in the history of the world. Son of Krypton versus Bat of Gotham.
But the fight itself is like 5 minutes long. Superman is like barely fighting back, because he could have just torn Batman in half at any point. All of the traps Batman set were pointless and useless. The only thing that was any good were the kryptonite grenade. But it was really goofy, it was fun, there was finally some levity in the movie, because Batman smashes Superman over the head with a sink.
I think the sink thing was so stupid, though.
It was supposed to be stupid, but the point of it is that he's humiliating him.
Yeah, I guess.
I'm betting the original script said that it was a toilet.
Really?
That's my guess.
I don't know, I thought it was dumb because he's not like Superman. He can't just rip things off walls.
No, he's wearing like the Iron Man suit. What was the thing that set the tone for how bad the movie was in the opening scene?
I didn't see it yet. He saw it already. And on this channel, actually, go to the other video where he comes home from the movie theater.
Yeah, link right here to my first impressions video.
And I didn't know he was recording this video. He's just ranting about how awful the movie was. And I'm like, okay, like, he loves superhero movies, so I'm not gonna, like, he's just a total fanboy, so maybe he was really disappointed in it. So I'm gonna judge it for myself. We went into this movie thinking we were going to make this video me defending the movie.
The original point of how the fuck bad is I'm supposed to hate it, you're supposed to love it, and we're supposed to argue because we have really funny fake arguments.
That was the original plan, to make me defend the movie.
How long did it take you to realize that you weren't able to defend
5
this?
minutes.
5 minutes.
5 minutes into the film,
And then you realized
I
there
was
was
gripping
no way
my
you could
chair,
have
and I
defended
just
this movie.
leaned over to him, and I was like, I can't do this. So the buildings are falling and collapsing, and Batman's fighting Zod.
Superman's fighting Zod.
Superman's fighting
You see
Zod
them very
in the
awkwardly
sky.
float across the
Yeah,
screen
oh my
as millions
God,
of people are dying everywhere.
everywhere. Destruction is going on, and all of a sudden, out of like thin air, there's just this little girl in the rubble, standing there, and something's about to collapse on her, and Batman runs over and saves her.
That son of a bitch brought the war to us.
It was the most cliche.
It was the Wayne building. It was the Wayne building. The Wayne building had literally just 9/11, and she was standing in the middle of the rubble, all by herself. Where's your mommy? And she points up to where the building is missing. Why are you here by yourself?
That's not even the worst.
Why are you in the middle of the
That's not
rubble?
the worst part. The worst part is it happened, and I don't know why. Like, why? Oh, we need to make a superhero movie. They're gonna save a little girl because audience and empathy.
Immediately we get to what I've been talking about forever. Zack Snyder is probably the worst communicator through the medium of film that has ever existed. Okay, that's an overstatement. A lot of people say he's Michael Bay-esque, and he is in a way, but even Michael Bay is better at communicating things to his audience. He just does it in a very condescending way. Zack Snyder is equally as condescending, however, he just has no idea what the fuck to tell his audience sometimes. The very first time you see Clark with Lois, Clark walks in, he's got a grocery bag full of flowers, and he's like, oh, you're home. I was gonna cook. And then they have some sort of like little conversation. You see a quick little nip slip. Lois Lane.
Did you see the nip?
Yeah, there was a nipple.
I was looking really hard. I didn't see
I
it.
saw it.
She moved, and I was like,
You see it for like,
And there was
you
no-
see the top half of it
Oh.
for like a brief moment.
so she's got saucer
I'm
nips
sorry you
going on?
missed it. No, they were decent.
And Zack Snyder's just like, they're in a relationship.
Yeah, they're in a relationship.
They like
Superman
each other.
gets
Yeah,
in the
he's
tub
a
with all his clothes
quirky
on. It's all
boyfriend.
goofy and quirky. Clark is gonna flood the apartment.
They love
I
each
know.
other.
Oh. This is the first perfect example. Zack Snyder kind of having an idea of what he has to communicate to his audience. He has to communicate to his audience that they're in a relationship and they love each other. But instead of showing it to us
In a real...
in a realistic way, he's just like, here's some schlock
These
in your
flowers.
face. And then they literally never address the relationship again
I know.
throughout the entire movie. That's the only time they're ever a couple in the entire
know.
movie.
A bag of flowers.
A giant
Bag.
paper
Like
bag
flowers. I'd be
filled
like,
with
what the hell am I gonna do with all these flowers?
It's the same thing with the little girl. Zack Snyder is just like, look, Batman's a good person. He saves little girls. He's gonna take care of that little girl.
What is his name again? The character, the guy. Michael Cera, but not... He's... Typecast guy? nerd, socially awkward, autistic. Lex Luthor.
Lex Luthor. Okay. Jesse Eisenberg. Michael Cera, but not. Congratulations.
And I actually liked him. Like, I don't know how the real Lex Luthor is.
It doesn't, that's the thing, is it doesn't matter what it's like in the comic.
He's the only character I think I liked. Like, he was
But why did you
weird.
like him?
He was like so weird, like kind of
But
like
why
Asperger-y.
did he want to kill Superman?
I don't know. Wait a minute.
Exactly. His entire motivation is, my dad used to have to wave flowers at tyrants.
Oh my god, I didn't even think of that. What was his motivation? That he, wow. It's almost like movies are so cliche now that it's like, there's a villain who wants to destroy the hero, and like you don't even think why.
That comes down to, was Zack Snyder miscommunicating to us Luthor's motive?
Did he
or
just
did
forget?
Luthor just have a really weak-ass motive? And Zack Snyder was like, oh yeah, his dad. Good enough.
Why was he evil? Why did he want to destroy Superman? He had like that god thing, and he was like, gods.
Oh yeah,
no,
the painting of the
demons.
angels meeting demons. And he's like, we need to flip it upside down.
I thought that part was pretty cool.
Yeah, but that scene was so clunky. Here's the problem with the first half of the movie, is that it's just random scenes that don't have anything to do with each other. There's a couple things that sort of do, but you don't really feel like there's a story. You're just like watching a documentary of things that happened.
Yeah.
Then you don't really understand any of the characters.
Like I explained, it felt like someone was on the DVD selection menu and skipping like scene selection.
The first act of the movie, the director's supposed to show you things that are going to eventually pay off in the end of the movie. When I'm watching the first act, I'm like, does that mean something? Does that mean something? The first time you see Bruce talking to Alfred, Alfred's like scolding him for branding a guy, which is a Batman thing now. I guess he brands people,
Yeah.
which is fine. Like, he's supposed to be like an old Batman. He's had enough of the shit. Batman's like, we've always been criminals. Nothing's changed. And Alfred's like, everything's changed. And he shows like footage of Superman and Zod, and he's like, gods have come down from the sky. And why is Alfred telling Bruce this? Not only does Bruce know this, but he was
Because-
there when it happened.
Because
It should have been the other way around. It should have been Bruce telling Alfred, everything's changed. The rules are completely different. And it doesn't make any sense, because then later on in the movie, Alfred is like, oh no, you can't kill Superman. Even though he was the one that said Superman was the fucking dangerous one in the first place.
I think Zach, like I have ADHD and I see a lot of myself in Zack Snyder's direction. Everything was just weird. It's like he forgot some parts of the movie.
Do you know what we've got? We got Zack Snyder, who wrote these characters in this story. The studio saying, "Oh no, well you got to get it to all mix up with all the other movies that are coming up. So you have to have this in it. You have to have this in it. You have to have this in it." And you definitely feel that, especially with the reveal of the rest of the Justice League. It definitely feels like, oh yeah, we got to show Flash and Wonder Woman and Cyborg and Aquaman.
Look at all these movies that
Look
are
at
gonna
all
come
these
out.
movies we had look at all these things we had the interns knock out in an afternoon for us. Was the Aquaman thing not the worst thing you've ever seen on the big screen?
Yes.
Or
It was
which
pretty
was
bad.
worse, that or the Cyborg one?
I don't know. They were all pretty stupid.
All four of them were bad.
They were so forced.
The Flash's was okay, because at least it was like security footage, right?
Oh yeah, that one was cool.
But like, what the fuck was the Aquaman footage supposed to be?
He was just like,
You can see he's like holding his breath. He's like,
that whole thing was just like, these are the movies coming out, and it's just like, again, the conveyor belt thing I've said in the other video.
Also, Zach had the military in the movie, and I don't know if you knew this. If you involve the United States military in your film, they will let you do it, but the problem is that they force rewrites on the script
Oh really?
to show the military in a better light. The movie Captain Phillips was probably the most obvious. When they finally opened the back door of the escape pod, there's all these ships behind them and helicopters and stuff, and it all of a sudden turns into a completely different film. They've already decided that this movie is part of a franchise before the franchise has even been created. This movie is now an advertisement for all the movies that are coming out, or well, may or may not now, because they've changed the roster a little bit.
The whole movie felt like that to me. The whole movie felt like
an advertisement for the new movie.
it was like a
Justice League.
trailer for the Justice League.
I'm fine with them like setting up the next movie, but it felt like the whole movie was setting up the next movie. Even when they make part 2 of 3, knowing there's going to be a 3, part 2 still has to be a self-contained, cohesive
It has to have its own
story.
movie. It can't
It has
just
to be a movie. You got to be able to pull out part 2, play it on your Blu-ray player, and enjoy it as a film all on its own without having to worry about not having seen part 2
Yeah.
or part 1 or
Yeah,
part 3.
Exactly.
Clark wanted to write a story about Batman, this really interesting vigilante in Gotham City, but the editor-in-chief wouldn't allow him to write the story. He wanted him to write about football, which sounded really lame,
That was so stupid.
and then write a story about Friends of the Library. Lex Luthor gets up on stage and gives this really weird speech. And he says that he's a philanthropist, which in the Greek means lover of humanity. And then after babbling on about nothing, I don't even know what, eventually says, the great tragedy of man is having knowledge without power, because that's a paradox. And then Batman goes down and steals some of Lex's
That whole,
information.
like, this whole movie is just like, they're in a place now because a thing has to happen. Do you notice that?
Yeah, well,
Like, why did the party happen?
at no point in the movie do you ever feel like you have a really good idea of where anybody
Yeah.
is. This scene was the one where it bothered me the most. Because Bruce has to go from the party and sneak his way down some stairs to the computer room. The whole time the camera is right here on Bruce's fucking face.
Where he's
You don't know
going.
where he's going, you don't see the walls even of the rooms that he's walking through. Then it cuts to Alfred, and Alfred's got this like computer layout of the building, and it's like so jumbly, you can't even tell what Alfred's
I
looking
know.
at.
It's like he either overfeeds you with like what is happening, or he doesn't explain at all.
This is the worst part of the scene. When Bruce gets back upstairs, he starts having a conversation with Clark, and they're kind of having like a back and forth, like, can they tell who they are? Can they not tell who they are? Because they're both using like innuendos that would imply that they know who the other one is.
Mr. Wayne, Clark Kent, Daily Planet.
What's your position on the Bat Vigilante in Gotham? Civil liberties are being trampled on in your city. People living in fear. He thinks he's above the law.
The Daily Planet criticizing those who think they're above the law is a little hypocritical. What'd you say?
And then Lex Luthor goes,
Boys, Bruce Wayne meets Clark Kent. I love it. I love bringing people together. How are we?
Lex?
Hi, hello, Lex. It is a pleasure. Ow, wow, that is a good grip. You should not pick a fight with this person.
how the fuck does Lex Luthor know who Clark Kent is? Some high school football writer.
Was that a fourth wall break?
Was it supposed to be?
To me, it sounded like one, like, oh, Batman and Superman. I love bringing people together. Like, because the movie was like Batman and Superman.
Even if it was, how the fuck did Lex Luthor know who the Daily Planet's high school football writer was? Even if he does know who he is, why is it
relation to-
significant that
that
those
they
two
meet.
met? We also meet Wonder Woman for the first time in this scene as well. We don't know, we're not supposed to know she's Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman was not nearly as bad as I thought she
No,
would be.
she's fine. And the actress looks a lot like what Wonder Woman would look like.
I know there were some people that complained that she was too thin, but if you see her next to the boys, she's a
She's
big
muscular.
girl.
She's very, like, sleek and very, like, well put together, and it was very, like you could tell she's strong and she could kick your ass. When she turned into Wonder Woman for the first time, they showed, like, her hair blowing, like, 3 times.
This shot is in the movie 3 times in the same scene.
How'd you remember the song?
Oh, because I've seen the movie twice
Oh, okay.
now. It's the only theme song in the movie that stuck out. Because they only play Superman's theme like once or twice.
It stuck out because it was so out of place.
Well, you can tell that it's the theme song they're going to use for her movie, and you can tell that they've already started production of that movie
you
because
sure?
yeah, because there's already production photos of that film. They've already worked out the theme song clearly, the costumes, the actors, the setting. Like they show that picture of her from
Picture was
1918.
really cool.
I noticed the second time watching it through that it said that the photo was in 1918. The guy that plays Captain James T. Kirk on her right. There's no way they just hired him for a photograph. Wonder Woman steals the information but can't do anything with it. So that was pointless.
I didn't understand that whole scene.
Then he later meets up with her and she's like, oh, I couldn't find any of the information, so I put it back in your car. 2 scenes that she's in that are essentially pointless other than to let you know that she's a person of interest.
The next scene is the most pointless scene in the movie, though.
Here's what Lex Luthor's trying to do. He's trying to get this big chunk of kryptonite to be imported. I don't know why he needed Congress's help or the Senate's help or whatever the fuck which branch of government was it? It's your government, you should know.
America.
He's trying to get this senator or congresswoman to give him an import license for this chunk of kryptonite. And she won't do it, so he kills her. But he gets it anyways, which we all knew was going to happen because we already knew about the White Russian, which was the ship that was bringing it in. Sit down. The kryptonite thing happens before he kills the senator, right? Because I think when the senator dies, that's when Superman decides he doesn't want to be Superman anymore for like 5 minutes. This is probably the most pointless scene in the entire movie. Batman tries to get the kryptonite from Luthor as he's having it shipped into Metropolis. So the very first thing that Batman does in this scene is he shoots a tracking device onto the truck that's picking up the kryptonite. Then Batman jumps into his Batmobile, kills like a dozen people, destroys half the truck that's carrying the device.
Very long chase scene.
And just as he's about to stop the truck, for no reason, Superman stops Batman from doing it.
Batman like crashes the Batmobile. Superman flies on top of the Batmobile and is like, hey, stop.
The next time the citizens of your town politely ask you for help by shining that light in the sky, don't answer it. Tell me, do you bleed? Well, you're gonna... I'm sorry, what was that? Nothing. Nothing. No, that sounded like a threat. No. No, it wasn't even me. I think it was one of those corpses that said it. One of the guys I pretty much killed. You know, I could just turn you into dust right now. I think it was him. You know I'm fucking Superman, right? So what? I'm Batman.
So why did Superman stop Batman?
Because
there was like a little bit of a setup that he knew who Batman was because he wanted to do a story about him in the newspaper. But why does he not like Batman?
You're bringing these to my attention now, and I didn't even think of them while watching the movie.
At least we have some sort of like thin idea of why Batman hates Superman. He witnessed Superman destroy Metropolis and kill all of his employees in the Wayne Tower there. Superman hated Batman because he even made a point to say that he knows that the bat signal exists. He's like, next time they turn on your light, don't answer it. It's like, but that means that Gotham knows who he is and wants him to help.
Yeah.
But then the real reason that this scene is pointless is that even though Superman thwarted his plans to get the kryptonite, he just gets the kryptonite anyways off camera.
Mm-hmm. So we saw that whole chase scene, which really was pointless, but we didn't see him stealing the kryptonite, which wasn't pointless.
Here's the second reason that scene was pointless. That tracking device that he shot on the truck, it told him where the kryptonite was going anyways.
He already knew.
Here's the third reason it's pointless, June. Because it was going to a building that Batman should have known it was going to anyways, LexCorp's Scientific Research Center. If he didn't already know it was going there, then he's the stupidest Batman that's ever existed.
He knew it was going there, though. Oh, this is why I think Zach has ADHD.
That's putting it gently.
All over the place with this movie. It's like he forgets something and then does something else.
So after this, there's a Senate hearing for Superman. Probably the scene where we most laughed inappropriately the hardest.
Unintentional comedy gold.
Right.
Lex Luthor sets up a bomb, and in the Senate, while everyone's having a meeting about Superman, Superman's there, the bomb goes off, everyone dies. The building just blows up, and there's this huge fiery explosion, and out of the fiery explosion, Superman comes out, like, with just a single tear running down his face. The lamest thing I've ever seen in my entire existence on planet Earth.
Can you tell me why the Senate was blown up?
No.
Was it to punish Superman?
Was it to frame him?
If it was to frame him, it didn't work because they said on the news immediately that they knew it wasn't him.
And his excuse for it was weird. He's like,
I didn't see the bomb. I'm afraid
because I wasn't looking.
I'm afraid I didn't see it because I wasn't looking.
What does that mean?
What does that mean?
The one-liners in this movie. I swear I want to like get the movie and then I want to just chop it up so all the action is gone and it's just like the dialogue. Then you will see just
But
pure
that's when
bullshit.
Superman decides that he doesn't want to be Superman anymore. And then 5 minutes later decides to become Superman after he has a conversation with his dead father on the top of a mountain.
Did that happen? Was it a dream? Was it a hallucination?
At this point, Batman had already had like 4 or 5 dream sequences that were all things that he shouldn't have known. So he can tell the future now, I guess.
He has psychic abilities now.
The only person that dies in the Senate that was of any significance was that senator
June.
who wouldn't give Lex the import license. Did he blow up the Senate because he wanted to kill her?
To get back at her for not getting her, maybe. Because remember she was looking at that jar?
Granny's peach tea.
Yeah.
It was a jar of piss.
Yeah.
Did you know that? Okay.
I got it.
Okay.
You don't got a spoon feed. Lois Lane is the most incompetent person ever in the history of movies ever, and I hated her.
So Superman saves her life 3 times in this movie.
The only life he really saved.
That's essentially her role in this movie, is for her life to be saved 3 times. There is one other role that she plays in this movie, and it happens during the big fight scene between Superman and Batman. As they're fighting, Lois goes up to Perry and is like, I need a helicopter. It's not for a story.
Get her a helicopter now.
Get her on the roof, Lois, on the roof. She starts running to the helicopter. She runs into the helicopter. She jumps in the helicopter. She's flying over the city. She's flying over to Gotham. She lands in Gotham. She gets out of the helicopter and starts running. She's running through the building. She jumps in front of Superman and goes, it's his mom. Then Lois throws this kryptonite weapon into the water. Doomsday shows up, and then for no reason she's like, oh, I need the kryptonite weapon again. And she almost dies, and Superman saves her.
So this whole thing is happening. Doomsday is alive and well, and destroying the city and explosion, like nuclear bombs, and just people are dying and they're fighting, and all of a sudden freaking Lois is drowning in a puddle, and Superman has to come save her. She's so incompetent. All she needed to get was like the kryptonite stick. She couldn't do it. Superman has to stop fighting what could be the end of the world to go save this chick who had one job. She had one job. Get the stick, Lois. And she couldn't do it. She almost died. Superman had to go out of his way.
And then Superman almost died because as soon as he picks up the spear underwater, he starts drowning.
That's when I turned to him and I was like, we need to go home because this movie is physically causing me pain in my heart.
Doomsday has this area attack where he can destroy everything around him. He ends up destroying dozens of buildings with his area attack. Batman crawled behind a little rock and he was fine.
Batman the Mortal is fighting Doomsday and alongside of Wonder Woman and Superman. But for some reason, Batman can keep up with these immortal, like, alien gods.
Yeah. He stands around trying not to die. for the whole 5 or 10 minute fight scene. And then right at the end, he shoots one of those kryptonite grenades. Just to slow Doomsday down enough for Superman to kill him. Then we get to the clunky ending.
Which one?
Exactly. I can tell you my least favorite one is when they show all the people standing around the Superman monument, which is just the S symbol on the ground, and somebody wrote on it, "If you seek his monument, just look around you." But if you look around you, you'll notice a city that is still being rebuilt from when he fucking destroyed it. And if you look a little bit further, you'll find that he also almost destroyed a second city.
That's why I think it was graffiti. I think it was an anti-Superman.
The point was, it was supposed to be like a positive thing.
I think it was a negative.
But they already built a monument to him the first time he destroyed a city.
I think that was graffiti. Look around you, as in look at all the destruction.
I think Zack Snyder heard that somewhere and was like, that's really inspiring. I think I'm
Yeah.
gonna put that in, not realizing the irony.
Maybe. I don't know. I still think it was graffiti.
There was inspiring music playing. There's
Oh,
people
that's true.
standing around with candles with a vigil
Yeah.
around the monument. My favorite part of the movie is when Neil deGrasse Tyson told us the point of the movie.
Yeah, oh
That was
my
so
God.
insulting. This world-famous science communicator, an astrophysicist, doing this fake news piece, and he's like, yeah, well, you know, it's interesting living in a world where we find out we're not alone and that there's actually gods out there. Oh, thank you, Neil. Obviously, we're not recommending this movie.
No. See it on, like, DVD.
Is it, like, so bad it's good, though?
No.
Like, we laughed several times.
The reason this movie is so bad is because it tried so hard to be good. Like, it was so built up and it was so hyped up, and it just failed. It just flopped.
What Zack Snyder did was he flipped through some comic books, and he's like, I like that. I want that in my movie. Flip through, I like that. I want that in my movie. Took those drawings and put them on the big screen with completely different context behind
Yeah.
them. Sure, the Batman fighting suit was neat. The Dark Knight vibe where Batman fought Superman, that was neat.
I thought the bat suit was stupid. He looked so fat. He looked like a fat woman in a suit. It was just like, do you bleed?
Because BF doesn't have the proper Batman jaw.
You do.
right?
Check
I
it
do.
out. Now that we saw Deadpool, like, my standards have been raised.
Yeah, Deadpool kind of shook stuff up. Well, Deadpool basically pointed out how ridiculous the whole superhero genre was to begin with. And the only reason Marvel's been doing so well is because they realize how ridiculous it is. DC, on the other hand, has decided to go with the super serious route.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that, but some very, very, very old men are complaining that they miss their old Christopher Reeve Superman.
Oh, my Superman wouldn't do this. My Superman wouldn't do that. I don't like it. Change it. Well, this is their Superman now. Do you think that would even work in this day and age?
There are a lot of reasons this movie doesn't work, but the fact that it's nothing like the old Christopher Reeves movies has nothing to do with it.
And Batman killing, too.
I don't care how accurate it is compared to the comics. I just want a good movie that makes sense. The way it's done in this movie makes it seem ridiculous. That doesn't mean that I don't think a serious Superman could work. I could probably make a really good serious Superman movie. Zack Snyder sure as fuck cannot. Do you think you're gonna watch that Wonder Woman movie?
Yes.
I think I'm going to like it because it's World War I.
Yeah, like the period films
Yeah.
we like.
She seems like a half decent actress. I think they hired her more because she's hot.
What a misogynist.
You said it first. She's
Trying
hot,
to
though.
frame it on you.
She is hot though.
We're probably gonna see all of them though. I'm probably gonna review them. I'll wear my Wonder Woman costume.
And then this will all be worth it.
Thank you for watching. If you like what you saw and you'd like to see more Armored Skeptic, please subscribe. If you absolutely love me, you can support me on Patreon. Or if you have a passing affection for me, you can buy my t-shirt. Links in the description.
Whatever you do, do not look at the monitor.
Okay.
Look at your camera, look at the main camera, and me. That's it. Never look at anything else ever again.
Oh my God. Except you and the camera.
You and the cameras. That's it.
Me and the
Swear to
cameras.
fucking God.
Can you feel this?
I can't feel anything anymore.
Okay.
Wait, are you looking at the camera?
Oh, don't look at the.
No, I said you couldn't look at the camera.
Oh.
I said don't look at the monitor.
Oh no, I can't even see the monitor.
Yeah.
The
Well, I know.
yellins!
I know.
The yellins begin.
Our first film tonight is going to be Batman vs. Superman. The series is going to be how terrible a movie is.
Yeah. When I was little and I thought I was a duck, I would walk around like this all the time.
And I said to the bitch, suck it or get the out.
Hello and welcome to the Julie Show. Today.
Wait, can I get my spoon?
Get the spoon.
I gotta get the spoon.
Bruce has a crunchy face whenever he thinks about Superman.
I know.
And that's it.
Oops, did I do that out loud? I was supposed to do it in my mind.
You're supposed to hiccup in your mind?
I wanted to keep it in.
How do you hiccup in your mind?
Go on, let's talk about the movie.
It's like, no, I feel tired.
I'm gonna make you coffee.
Then I give that shit to my secretary, and then she'd write out all those points so that we remember to talk about them when we actually do our recording.
She forgot to do that this time.
I'm not gonna fire her, but I will punish her.